Uh, all right, so we are live again. Hello, everybody. It's me, Natty, and I'm here at my beautiful off the grid premise in nature. So, today I want to talk to you about using wild yam in order to boost your fertility and to help to deal with fibroids, right? So, wild yam, sis. Isn't that thing that they use to help women who are going through menopause? How is that going to help me with fertility? I'm not going through menopause. I want a baby. I can still have my menstrual period, or maybe you can't. Maybe you can't. But so we're going to talk about this, right? And we're also going to address the question of whether or not wild yam is estrogenic, whether it creates more estrogen in the body. So there's a contradiction here. There's a real conflict, okay? Some people are saying that wild yam, okay, has progesterone, okay, and it's used for menopause. And then other people are saying wild yam has estrogen, and that you shouldn't use it if you have fibroids or if you have estrogen dominance. So I'm going to clear that up today, okay? That's why I love this herbal work so much, because it's very interesting, and like you sort of have to kind of have a really good idea of what you're doing when you're dealing with herbs. So let me go over some of the benefits of wild yam to start, okay? So wild yam is an antioxidant, very, very powerful antioxidants. Why are antioxidants necessary for fertility, right? Is because wild antioxidants help to deal with inflammation. Okay, they help to deal with, again, oxidants, things that are oxidizing your tissue cells, that are causing damage, that are causing decay. It helps to slow the aging process of your cells. Again, if you are dealing with, if you think about skin, a lot of time antioxidants are used, again, to help the skin stay looking young and fresh. Well, the same thing can happen in your womb. Okay, so when you use wild yam, okay, say in a Yoni steam, it's going to help to, again, slow the aging process. And yes, sis, your kitty can age, okay, if you're not taking care of her. The tissue cells, okay, they got a lifespan. They can start to age if they're not being treated right. So that's why it's good to take care of your vagina, right? So wild yam, again, it can also help to minimize any type of inflammation as far as that goes. It's also a very powerful anti-inflammatory. But before I go there, I want to tell you why it's a powerful antioxidant, and that's because it contains diosgenin. Okay, so diosgenin is what is causing a lot of the confusion, because diosgenin can be used to create progesterone. Okay, but it doesn't actually have wild yam does not actually have progesterone, and wild yam does not actually have estrogen either. Okay, what it does have is pregnenolone, or something called like pregnenolone or something like that. I might be butchering up the name, but pregnenolone is a hormone that can be turned into progesterone, or it can be turned into DHA. Okay, and so what can happen though is, if you are very stressed out, and this is another thing that antioxidants are very good for, if you're very stressed out and you're trying to conceive, what actually can happen is that the pregnenolone can be stolen by your body to make cortisol. So if you're stressed and you got stress building upon stress, you've seen that negative pregnancy test month after month after month, you're stress after stress after stress. Okay, that's going to have an effect on your body in the long term, right? So instead of your body saying, hey, let's help her out and make more progesterone so that way she doesn't have a miscarriage, or so that way she can thicken her uterine lining and she can conceive a baby, they're going to say, look, she's telling us she's under stress. So ovaries, womb, all y'all, we're shutting it down. So then instead of your hormones being used to create sex hormones or reproductive hormones, what your womb is going to do, what your body is going to do, your hormones, it's going to say, look, we in fight or flight situation right now. Shut off all fertility. We're not doing that. Make stress hormones so that she can fight or flight, so that she can run, or she can, put them gloves on. right, sis? But that's not what we want, right? We want to be more feminine. We want to be more delicate. We want to be more fertile. So one thing that you need to do is to find ways to help to boost your fertility naturally. Okay, to help to reduce stress, to help to relieve stress. And one way that you can do that is to use Yoni steams. Okay, you can use wild yam in a Yoni steam. So again, we're talking about fibroids. So is it really good to use wild yam for fibroids? Okay, isn't it estrogenic and all of that, right? Well, see, this is like what they do a lot about with the yams. So things such as maca, okay, also gets blamed for being estrogenic and all of that. But what it actually is when it comes to wild yam, there's no scientific evidence, okay, to prove that wild yam has estrogen. However, there is evidence that states that wild yam actually it has phytoestrogens, but it also has phytoprogesterone. So remember I talked about that conflict there where they're saying, oh, it's good for menopause, but it causes estrogen. What it is that it has what is called plant estrogens or phytoestrogens. These are softer estrogens, or they are more delicate. Okay, there's a lot of things that have estrogen, even things that you are thinking, oh, it's not tofu, so it's good. More than like it probably has some amount of estrogen, but what it is, your body needs to have a balance of estrogen or regulate estrogen. Wild yam helps your body to regulate your estrogen, and it does this because it has estrogen and progesterone, and there are phytoestrogens and phytoprogesterones, and these help to regulate and balance the estrogen inside of your body. Not just the estrogen, the progesterone, right? And why this is important is because if you take things to regulate or if you take synthetics to sort of balance your progesterone, or say either one, if you're taking synthetics, the synthetics are more powerful. They're designed to sort of go into your body and just take over and just, you know, disregard your body's normal balance, like the way how it flushes estrogen and progesterone out of your body. But when you're dealing with the plants, your body has a better way of dealing with it because they're identical, and your receptor sites can only handle and manage a certain amount of estrogen, progesterone, whatever the case may be. So unlike, again, synthetics that's going to sort of continue to stimulate your estrogen sites. So I say all that to say because estrogen, or the phytoestrogen and the phytoprogesterone in wild yam is actually beneficial for your body, because if you do not have enough progesterone, this will cause you to have a short luteal phase. Okay, and if you have a short luteal phase, you may have a higher risk of having a miscarriage. Women with longer luteal phases are linked to having better fertility. Women in Nigeria, in the Yoruba tribe, who consume wild yam, the Yoruba tribe consume a lot of wild yam, and they are one of the most known people to have large amounts of twins. So does that sound like it's causing problems with fertility? No. Right? But again, like I said, that estrogen in there is a phytoestrogen. It's not really even estrogen, but there are phytoestrogens, and it works with the progesterone to regulate and balance your hormones. Okay? So some other things that are good that progesterone is very good for is that progesterone, let's see, some other things that progesterone is good for, or sorry, not progesterone, wild yam. See, some other thing that wild yam is good for, again, is lower pelvic pain or chronic lower pelvic pain, chronic pelvic pain. And so this is important because if you do have fibroids, you may be experiencing a lot of pain, right? You may be experiencing lower abdominal pain, pain in your womb, pain in your uterus, pain in your pelvic region, pain in your reproductive area, right? So to deal with that, sometimes over-the-counter medications and drugs, they're just not designed for the human body. They're really not, and they may have strong side effects, right? And that's not to say that herbs and foods do not have effects on the body, but again, a lot of times they are less potent and less powerful, and they are actually more nourishing. So something like wild yam, which is good for like it is it has an affiliation with the womb. Okay, so when you consume it, it sort of acts upon the receptor sites in the womb. So that's why it's good for lower pelvic pain or chronic pelvic pain, right? And I find that this is why it's ideal to consume in a yoni steam. Okay, because you are using a yoni steam to help to address issues in the womb, are again to help to relax, to help to balance your hormones, to help to boost fertility, and it's good for that. Okay, so another thing, like I mentioned, is that wild yam is really, really good for stimulating ovulation. So a lot of you sisters, you may be taking Clomid or Clomid, whatever they call it. Okay, and what that does is it stimulates your body to ovulate. And again, this is a man-made drug, so it's not going to it's designed to hyperstimulate your body into ovulation when you wouldn't normally be ovulating, or when you do not ovulate, when you have blockages to ovulate, because maybe again you're in a stressed out situation. So they'll give you Clomid to sort of bypass all of that and force your body to ovulate. But your body does not need to be forced to ovulate. Your body is working. Okay, it's saying you're stressed. You don't have no business having a baby right now. You need to deal with this level of stress. And I'm telling you, sis, you want to deal with that level of stress, because once you find that peace, once you find that inner peace, okay, then things can move smoothly in your life. There are no drugs for dealing with the things that are causing you stress. These are things that you need to deal with and you need to address. So maybe you're working at a job where you cannot take a break. What are you doing there? You know, how much are they respecting you? Right? Maybe you're in a relationship where your partner doesn't value or understand you in the way you do, and just wants you to have a baby in order to validate your relationship. Is that really a relationship that you should be bringing a child into, or that you should really want to be sort of that you should want to conceive in? Because it's like, if you can't even be relaxed, then how much more relaxed are you going to be after you have a baby? How much more time are you going to have for yourself if you have a baby and you work at that same job and you can't get a break? How are you going to take time off work? Aren't they going to fire you? Right? So you might need to take some time, and even if it's 3 months, 6 months, and take some time and work that out. Okay, if you have no time for yourself, if you do not have 15 minutes for yourself, right? How are you going to have a lifetime for a baby, for a child? Okay, even if it's for 15 years, so you really need, your body is really telling you, look, you need to address this stress, right? So hyperstimulating your body into ovulation, you're further disrupting hormones, and this can cause other things. And that is why a lot of times when women do go the IVF route or the IUI, there are a lot of complications. And then add to that the complication of having multiples in a womb, in a body that has been hyperstimulated to disregard the body's natural process, the body's natural fight or flight response, right? Whereas you can take something like wild yam, it's going to address all that. It's like check. Sis, you're stressed, I got you. Sis, you want to ovulate and have a baby, I got you. Oh, you want twins, I got you too. Oh, you got fibroids, you got issues in your womb, you got pelvic pain, got you. Right? So this is why like the herbs are really, really good once you get to know them, and once you can learn how they work. So another thing is that diastringent, that antioxidant I mentioned, it converts into LH and FSH, or luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone. They're called LH and FSH for short. And so what that does is it helps you to ovulate, because you need these hormones in order for your body to ovulate. And so wild yam, again, does have diastringent, and that's going to help your body to stimulate ovulation, right? So that way you can have a baby. So again, like I said, it's not going to, women in Yoruba who consume wild yam tend to have more twins, or there are higher numbers of twins in the Yoruba tribe in Nigeria. So what's happening there is that because they're consuming wild yam on a regular basis, their body is being bathed in these hormones, in these nourishing hormones. Their uterus is being bathed in the wild yam's benefits. Wild yam is also very toning for the uterus. Wild yam helps your uterus to function better, to especially for menstruation. So it helps the uterus to do what it's supposed to do. Because one thing that, look, in order to ovulate, in order to menstruate, you have to ovulate, right? So wild yam is really good for that. I feel like I'm hearing something. Can you come check? Right? So wild yam is really good for that. You hear me? Can you just check if you hear anything over there? Right? So wild yam is really, really good for that. No, this way. This way, this way, this way. Up the hill. Just see if you see anything. Sound like somebody said something. No? Okay. Right? So again, in order to ovulate, you gotta menstruate. So by wild yam helping to tone your uterus and to help your uterus to function better, is also helping you to ovulate. So it's really, really a good nourishing herb. And like I may have mentioned, it's a food. You can eat wild yam. You can actually start eating this stuff. Start eating our ancestral food. Okay, our indigenous food. Jamaicans love to eat a lot of yam. Mexicans eat a lot of yam. Africans, come on, we all up in the house. We don't know. Okay, Africans eat a lot of yam. That's why they're over there having all these twins. So again, yams, these are root foods. They're grown in the ground. They're getting all the minerals and the nutrients out the ground, and they can sustain you, and they can give you a lot of they're like steroids. They're like steroidal hormones. So that's why you see a lot of African people, a lot of Jamaican men, they're very bulky, not bulk. Like when I say bulk, I mean muscle mass. They got a lot of mass. They're very built. They're very solid. Okay. So whereas you may have somebody in the States or in North America, wherever, when they're trying to get their body bulked up, they take things like creatine or they take steroids. And these steroids, they bulk up their body, but it's really like fluff. It's really just like dead weight. Whereas when you consume the things like the yams, okay, it's really nourishing your body, and it's functional. You can use this as energy. It stores your body with energy. It's like stored energy in your body, basically. Okay, so when you're consuming a baby, you need that stored energy as well, right? So consider taking wild yam. What y'all doing? Right? In order to build your body up, to give you the nutrients and minerals that you need, to give you the hormones that you need. So wild yam will be included in my Yoni steams, okay, for fibroids that I am formulating for you all. So I want to let you know that in order to get these Yoni steams, you're going to have to be on my list to learn when I launch these Yoni steams, because I am in the process of acquiring all the things that I need for these Yoni steams in order to allow my Yoni steams to be supercharged and infused with all the healing power and potential to help to optimize your fertility naturally, as well as to shrink fibroids if you have fibroids. So I know you all see a lot of Yoni steams online saying that they are good for fibroids. And here's the thing. A lot of these people that are making Yoni steams online, they do not specialize in fertility. Okay, they do not specialize in infertility. They do not specialize in fibroids, endometriosis, polyps, cysts, hormonal imbalance, women who have unknown fertility issues, whatever your fertility issue is, adenomyosis. They are not, menstrual issues. They're not necessarily, they're just trying to, a lot of people are just trying to make some money, and I have no problem with you doing what you have to do. But what happens is because people are not skilled in the herbs at all, a lot of times, what can happen is that they can throw herbs in there that are not necessarily good for your fertility challenge or for your personal body design and makeup, right? That is why I have created 3 fertility Yoni steams for women with fibroids, not just one. Okay, I'm creating 3 of them, right? So depending on your level of need or requirement that you need to deal with your fibroids in order to conceive naturally, that I created these 3 herbs to help to address your unique fertility situation. So whether you just need a general fibroid, you all need to stop now. Whether you just need a general fibroid Yoni steam, I'm creating that. Whether you have maybe fibroids that do cause you some pain and that, you know, are sort of enlarging your uterus a little bit, I have herbs for that. And maybe you have some fibroids that cause you extreme amounts of pain, and you have multiple fibroids, they are continuing to grow, you're experiencing excessive amounts of bleeding. I have created a fertility Yoni steam formula for those types of fibroids and for uses. So to get these these fertility Yoni steam for fibroids, you got to go to my website. It's at natasiawinter.com/order-Yoni steams. Okay, so that is in the description of this video right now, and you can go and check it. Close that, please. Right, go back that way. Right, so you can go there and you can get on my list, so that way when I do launch these Yoni steams, you can be the first to get them. I'm only creating a limited amount of these Yoni steam herbs, maybe about 10 to 20 of each of these 3 different types of herbs, and so it's going to be on a first come first serve basis. Once they're out, unless I decide to make more. So I'm doing this, and if you really want them, if you really want to increase your fertility naturally, and you have fibroids and you want to use these herbs, make sure that you get on my list at natasiawinter.com/order-Yoni steams. Okay, so do that now while you're watching this video. Pause it, click on the link in my video, enter your name and your email so you can get on my list, so that when I launch, which is going to be in about 2 weeks or 3 weeks, that you can start getting the messages and you can get the discount code. Okay, so that way you can get a special discount, because once the launch is sort of over, you know, whatever price I have is going to go up. So for you being on the list, you're going to get a discount, and then everybody else, once I launch after that, if I keep it going, if I keep creating these Yoni steam herbs, they're going to pay regular price unless I do some other type of sale at some other point. Don't come back this way, you hear me? Right, so that's what I'm doing. I'm excited about it because I'm going to be charging these Yoni steams with healing energy, with Reiki, chakra healing, crystals. Okay, I'm going to be infusing them with oils. That's why I can't just put it out in the public right now, because it's going to take some time for me to infuse the oils into the herbs, because most people that sell Yoni steam, they're not infused with oil, because look, it takes time. It's like making soap. You have to cure, or you have to you got to give it time. You got to give it like sometimes 2 or 3 weeks. Sometimes people, you got to cure a natural well, not natural, but when you are creating a synergy with natural plants, you've got to give them like between 2 and maybe 6 weeks in order to cure. So I'm going to be, and they call it cure, but you know, other words can be used, such as just basically creating synergy or creating the bonds. And the benefit of the bonds that you're creating is that it allows the natural elements of the herbs, the natural properties of the herbs, it allows them to work better together, so that when they create, it's called synergy. So when they create, the power of it, the magnitude of the healing potential, and how these herbs and elements bind together creates a better healing situation for you and for your body, and they work better, faster. So if you can imagine like alcohol, or if you can imagine cheese, or if you can imagine wine, okay, for those of you who aren't familiar with soap making, or kombucha. Okay, that's very popular. Kombucha is like fermented fruit or fermented beverages, or even if you imagine apple cider vinegar. So these are all like fermented. They're all like the stuff in, well, for those in that case, bacteria in the apple cider vinegar. It's allowed to ferment, and it's allowed to, again, grow and become more powerful. That's where you get the fizz, and that's where you get the strength of the alcohol from. So it's the same thing here with your yoni steams that I am making, and that I'm super excited and I'm really, really feeling myself about making, because I'm going to be charging these in the moonlight, in the sunlight, with crystals, with oils such as rose oil. Okay. I may put some essential oils in there, but I'm telling you, these are going to be premium yoni steams for premium punanis only and premium fertility wombs. Okay, so if you want your womb to have a baby, and if you want to get rid of the fibroids, make sure so you hit the link in the description. You understand? Okay, my Jamaican has to come out when I'm really feeling myself. You don't know. So sis, make sure, click the link in my description. Start getting these messages that I'm going to be helping you to understand more about how yoni steams work, how to deal with your fibroids, giving you tips for the next 30 to however many days. But I'm going to be dropping valuable gems. Okay, so make sure that you check your notifications, like this video, share this video, make sure that you are following me or liking my page, my Black Fertility page on Facebook. Make sure that you are following me at Black Fertility on YouTube, and make sure that you are subscribed to all my channels. Make sure you're on my Instagram. Make sure so you're everywhere. You understand? You can also follow me at Natasha Winter on Instagram, as well as my Black Fertility page on Instagram. So I am very, very reachable. You can also email me at admin. No, let's do this. You can also email me at blackfertility@gmail.com. But look, if you really, really want to get a hold of me, we need to speak. So what you can do is you can book a free 15-minute consultation with me. I have very flexible plans in order to help you to increase your fertility. Whether you have fibroids, PCOS, endometriosis, polyps, okay, I can create a one-of-a-kind, unique custom package just for you. Okay, so in order to book a free fertility call with me, make sure that you go to blackfertility.wordpress.com/book, or go to natasiawinter.com/book. All of that can be found in the description. I had to do it again. But anyways, y'all, I had so much fun making this video. Make sure that I see you in my emails, so that way you can start getting your premium fertility fibroid yoni steams designed just for women with fibroids. Okay, and for all you ladies that have PCOS, endometriosis, cysts, I am coming with something for you next. But I'm really making sure that I put all my energy and my intentions into this particular issue. So if you have fibroids, these yoni steams will be infused with affirmations to heal fibroids. They will be infused with manifestations to heal fibroids. The whole intention of these yoni steams will be made to help to reduce your fibroids and to get you pregnant as soon as possible. So again, make sure that you watch my videos if you want to learn more about yoni steams. But I'm done with this video. So bye sis, and hope to see you tomorrow. Make sure you check out for that. Take care. Bye.